So the next thing we're going to talk about is the fear of belonging. So wherever we go, we want to be accepted by a certain kind of people. Maybe I like a certain kind of people, and then I have a fear that may will I be accepted in that group, or even when I go to a new place, a new college, I have this fear that whether I will be accepted or not. So what is this fear of belonging?
So, you've put it very aptly. The fear of belonging comes from wanting to be part of a particular group. So the need to be in group with a particularly this will be true for peers, but it will also happen in other situations, outside of college or outside of school. But in teenagers and in young adults, you would see this very, very often. And with the new social media age where everybody is online, so how many likes you got on a particular photograph and how much you were appreciated on Instagram, whether it meets, I mean, deep down, we all know that somebody liking a photograph on Instagram does not really reflect their liking for us. But we still want those likes, you become popular, you get that sudden fame, and I've seen youngsters get some 25,000 followers, and I'm wondering that what does it all mean? I mean, accepting that you will get endorsements and make money out of it, I don't know whether those likes will mean anything. And that dies out just as quickly. Not to undervalue what you get on social media. It's important to recognize that social media today is a reality and it's an integral part of our life. But at the same time, one of the things that you said, which I found very significant, we want to be part of a group that we like. So to question what is it that we like about them? Is it only the outward appearance that they present? Or is it something that is an internal quality that we value? Will we be accepted by them for who we are or who we pretend to be part of that group? Can we not find people who are similar to us in terms of our internal qualities and be a part of that group, although that may not be the most popular group around? And again, I'm going back to how society looks at it. So which are the popular groups? The ones which present a particular image. They dress in a particular way, they look a particular way. So we tend to value very outward experiences, and our advertisement industry has captured that very, very well. At the same time, what social media has also done has given us people like actresses who have made videos about how much effort they need to put in to look the way they look, and even after that they need to be airbrushed, and they need to be, even before, after all the effort of dieting, exercising, clothes, wearing expensive clothes, designer clothes, having a hairstylist, having a makeup person, when they go on camera, they're still airbrushed. So if all of this is happening, then which appearance are we valuing so much? Because in our real life, this is not who we are, and probably the people that we appreciate, they are also not who they are. So when you want to become a part of a group, I would say just step back for 1 minute and think about, is this the group that I value for who they really are or who they are pretending to be? And uh, if you spoke to somebody who was popular because of the image they were presenting, you will see some of them would also come out with sad stories of how difficult it is to present themselves to be somebody who they may not feel like all the time. If you were popular and you were valued for having a particular appearance, you will be pressurized to maintain that appearance every day. You can have no bad days. Look at how these actresses and actors are trolled for having one bad day. One bad hair day. Who cares? But they are trolled like anything. So is this the kind of life we want, where we can't be ourselves even for that one day, that 1 hour, that one image? It doesn't matter. But we value those appearances so much that we forget who we really want to be. So are we giving up on joys of life for maintaining an image that does not hold much value in the long run? So if we are able to recognize that you're wanting to be a part of a group will need some reflection, some rethinking. At the same time, it's important to want to belong. We are all social people. So it's okay that you want to belong to a particular group, and friends are important in our life. Our families are important in our lives. So belong to a particular group, but belong to the group that you feel valued in, that you feel loved in, and you feel accepted in with all your flaws. You will never be so perfect that you will have no flaws. So, and I would say this, that each of us has an important role to play, because our friends also want to be valued just as much as we want to be valued. So value them also for who they are. Stop looking at them and judging them or shunning them for one flaw that they develop. So it's a mutual process. If you appreciated them despite all their flaws, they would probably do it also. So the belongingness will come from that.
So we belong to a place where we all can grow all together.
Correct.
Yeah. And the last one, so when I spoke to one of the person, he said, I feel anxious when I don't smoke.
Okay.
So there is one thing, what we call as addictions.
Right.
So it can be of, to any medium or of any type, which actually add an anxiety in your life. I don't know about fear, but it can definitely make you restless. So what about that aspect of it?
So addiction can be many. Addiction can be to cigarettes, it can be to drugs, it can be to alcohol, but it can also be to internet. It can also be to social media, what we call fear of missing out. So a lot of things can be addictive. Um, for any kind of intoxicating substances, that anxiety that comes from addiction. So your body gets used to a particular substance, and over a period of time, if you don't give that substance to your body, you start getting anxiety and restlessness, and you don't know how to overcome. At the same time, anybody who smokes or drinks or takes drugs regularly will also tell you that when they are tense about something else, the chance of their smoking or doing drugs increases. So uh, you feel more calm when you take an intoxicating substance, because your body tends to respond differently. It doesn't mean that it's always good. In most cases, I mean, it's one is recreational, but that recreation becomes addictive very, very soon. So you have to find where you're able to say that this is only recreation. Just like I was saying for internet, you don't go onto social media thinking that I will spend 8 hours a day on this, but you do end up scrolling through Instagram profiles, not even responding to them. So I've seen people with blank profiles with not even one post, but they spend 8 hours on Instagram just following what other people are doing, and some of it being very meaningless. There are other, I mean, Instagram is just one example. There are other social media websites where you can spend hours together and you don't even realize that so much time is being spent on it. So any of this, I would say, is addictive. So fear of it, it's not so much the fear of addiction. You become an addict and you don't know how to get out of it. So the anxiety comes from not knowing what life will be once you try to give it up. And sometimes addictions will be very difficult to give up. So you may need help in, if you are really, really addicted to something, you may need professional help, and there are places that you can go to. But if not, if it is just the beginning, slowly weaning it away, slowly deciding on the time that you need to spend, how many cigarettes you smoke in a day, can you control it, and even sitting down and thinking about it, whether this is making your life better. So is being on internet all the time helping me become a better person? Is it helping me live a more fulfilling life? If yes, if you're a professional, if your work involves being online all the time, then yes, probably you would need to be. But then, thankfully, now there are smartphones that come with well-being applications or inbuilt softwares that help you to, detox, so to speak, sometimes be away. So, your body is, and yourself. So you are physically, emotionally, psychologically together as one person. So sometimes you will need to break away from habits to find time for yourself and find time for people around you. And it can be any habit. It can be smoking, it can be internet, it can be even reading, sometimes even that can be so consuming that you don't realize what is happening around you. So any of this addiction, I would say, is actually a sign of anxiety and fear rather than being a cause of it. I think it's a result of it. So addiction is probably coming from our fear of being something else, some other fear which is leading us to addiction.
Okay, since we are speaking about addiction, one thing popped into my mind. There is this ban of a very recent popular game in India, and most of the youngsters, after that news went crazy. It made them restless, and so there are two aspects of it. The more it was, people were using it as refreshment. It was also addictive. Plus, there were so many people who had a plan in mind with this. So maybe they were like, it had become an income source for them, or it was kind of a refreshment, or maybe we can also say an escape from life. So now that it is banned, now this thing, I don't know how relevant it is. I have observed this in my house. So whenever my brother used to play, there was a sense of achievement in him. So whenever he used to upgrade these levels, there was a sense of achievement that he was happy about.
Right.
Okay, now since it is banned, and I think most of the people, this will lead them to becoming depressed, or maybe a little discomfort, or disturb their mental health somewhere. So what would you like to say about that thing?
Rutuja, you covered so many different aspects in what you just said. So a lot of it is already covered. So, just look at it this way. I'll just try and bring it point by point. So when you say that going on a particular game, any game, where you feel a sense of achievement from moving from one level to another, how real is that sense of achievement? You're finding achievement in something which is not in your real life. So probably if you found different ways, not to say that that achievement is not important, it's equally important and sometimes it's required. But then why? So this is where it becomes addictive, because in your everyday life, moving from one level to another will not be as quick. So these games give you quick achievements, and that is why that sense of achieving becomes so addictive, because you are able to do it much faster in the virtual platform than you are able to do it in your everyday life. So this is where one aspect of going online is important. Another aspect is where you talk about how these different platforms give you an escape from life. So you already know that you're moving away from something. You're trying to be away from a particular place, and therefore you are continuing to be uh, online all the time. So if it is an escape, as long as it is temporary, it's fine. But if it is a long-term thing, then probably it is not so fine. So escaping would definitely not be a way to deal with life. So one thing that I was discussing was that when you talk about escaping from a particular place, so the minute you're talking about escaping, then what you're saying is that there is something in real life which is leading you to move towards an online platform which you think is going to give you greater acceptance. So escape in the short run for a temporary time, for a few minutes, for a few hours, probably is okay. But if it is in the long run, then there is a need to identify what is it that we're escaping from, because in the long run, this escape is definitely not healthy. So that's one aspect that we need to cover. Another aspect is to, like we had discussed earlier, so some of these apps have become income sources. So even earlier when we were talking about fear of future, we talked about having this sense of preparedness or having a backup plan. So yes, these were income sources, but there are people who do go through a lot of hardships, and this income, when it stops, we need to be prepared to find alternative sources. And that adaptability, I think, is key, because in the future, and this is based on a lot of reading that I've been doing lately, and in that reading, everybody who's talking about the future has spoken about how one profession or one particular skill will not be enough for us to sustain in the future. So we need to develop that adaptability. We no longer, so there was a time when you would spend your entire lifetime in one city or in one neighborhood, but that changed. Similarly, people started moving from one office to another, and now there is a need to move from one profession to another. We change countries, we change organizations. So probably there is a need to be able to develop greater adaptability uh, now in the way the world is changing. So probably that will help us deal with this addiction or restlessness that comes from it.
Okay, I think the alternatives will come up soon,
Right.
and we all will find ways. So yes, and now since we have spoken about fears and anxieties, do you how important role do you think parenting will play in this scenario?
Oh, very. Because, this, like I have been discussing, a lot of these fears and anxieties step into us when we are still very young, in our early childhood, all this stems in. So we learn this from school, we learn this from home, whether it is success, whether it is social spaces, conforming to society. A lot of this comes from our immediate environment, and we learn this very early in life. So if parents were able to teach their children to be able to deal with fears, to feel comfortable in accepting their own fears. Sometimes we are so afraid we don't share our fears with others. We don't want to talk about our fears. That is the level of um, anxiety that we have in even discussing what we don't want to do. So parents will have a lot of role to play in accepting children, uh, even when they fail, even when they don't succeed, despite having tried hard. So it's also about developing the right values. So yes, parents will have a major role to play in this.
So I just hope we haven't missed on anything.
I think so too. And I just, I just want to add this one idea that it's important to recognize, I'm using your platform, Rutuja, to spread this word that it's important to recognize that it's fine to have fears and anxieties. And we do learn coping mechanisms, but sometimes we may not be able to develop those coping mechanisms. And when that point comes to seek professional help, then parents and children should not hesitate in seeking professional help. That stigma that is associated with going to a psychologist, that stigma which is associated, we don't go to a doctor only when there is serious illness. We go to them for fever, we go to them for headaches, we go to them for a variety of problems. Similarly, going to a psychologist does not reflect something that is endless, that is a label on you for all your life. So I feel that it is important to recognize that sometimes it's okay to take professional help. सब कुछ खुद नहीं कर सकते.